In today's video, we're going to talk about whether or not you should join the 5 a.m. club. Welcome back to yet again another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. My name is Kevin McKella, the host of the show and founder of Upgrade My Rituals, and this is ultimately the show for high performers, executives, solopreneurs, business owners, people who are looking for a little bit more productivity and trying to find a way to design their day, this perfect ideal day that ultimately where their head hits the pillow, they feel great about what they accomplished that day and where their life is going. And before we get into it today, I want to announce something very, very cool. January 10th is the official launch date. That's Monday, January 10th, 2022, of my program called Day by Design. And this is something that I've been working on probably for the last 6 months. And it's something that I had in the works for a while. And this ultimately is I'm actually extremely proud of this online course and coaching hybrid program where you ultimately get to become a student of mine, work one-on-one with me, as well as take an entire online course that teaches you how to design this perfect ideal day, right? The ins and outs of ritual design, the specifics of this system that I've created for myself and for you guys that has completely transformed my life, but more importantly, all of the nuances surrounding it. See, we talk a lot about ritual design, but what happens when obstacles come into play? What happens when technology changes? How do you set goals and how do you set domains and how do you ultimately make this something that will transform your life? And that's why I needed a full program, right? A 6-module program that you guys get to take. So I'm not going to get into too many of the details today, but I wanted to let you know that January 10th is the launch date. I'm super, super excited. You're going to hear about it the next couple of episodes and some details. We're going to be doing some live workshops right before to kind of dissect a little bit of what's in the program, let you guys get a sneak peek and go from there. So let's jump into today's episode. What I want to talk to you about today is the 5 a.m. club. The 5 a.m. club is a term, a phrase, a club for that matter. It is something that has come up over the last probably decade in this world of personal development, productivity, and almost extreme personal growth, almost toxic in a way, because there is that side of that. While I am very devoted to the world of self-help, right? That self-help section in the bookstore, if you will, it does come to a point where it could become too much. You're made to feel bad if you're not operating at a 10 in all areas of your life. The 5 a.m. club is ultimately a situation where people are suggesting that you wake up at 5 a.m. to instill a morning routine. Today, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of getting up at 5, implementing this morning routine, whether or not you should do that yourself, and some of the things to think about moving forward. If you've listened to the show, you know that I'm a huge proponent of a morning routine. I think it is one of the biggest foundational pieces that has changed my life in ways that I cannot even imagine. And it was one of the first things that I implemented when I had a radical transformation in my life and I realized I'm in control. So love the morning routine. I think it's the best time for self-care. I think it's a great time to work out, meditate, eat right, do some journaling, do some mantras if you like that, do some visioning, whatever it is you do. For me, my morning routine right now is not as intense as it used to be, just because with the kiddo, I'm glad I have a morning routine at all, right? So I do my morning workout. I do some reading. and I do some breathing exercises and some stretching. So it's kind of like a little bit of a stretching and breathing flow that I have. I read first and then work out at the end, and that's it for my morning routine. It takes an hour, and that's it. So the question is, for me, am I part of the 5 a.m. club? Nope. Let's take you back a little bit to the day I decided to join the 4:45 in the morning club. It's not a real thing. I was, at the time, actually, I was just transitioning out of the world of teaching. I was subbing, and I was a permanent sub, and I was in high school. So high schools, they start pretty early, and I was already implementing my morning routine. I was like, damn, I am not going to not do my morning routine, even though I have to be at school at 6:45 or whatever it is, right? So I started waking up at 4:45. It lasted about a month, and then it didn't happen. I still did, obviously, some type of morning routine, but I had to change it, and I had to wake up later. The reason I had to wake up later is a couple of things. One, for my chronotype. Chronotype is something that is part of, it really takes a look at your circadian rhythm, your sleep cycles, right? And when you are best suited to operate at different times of the day and different activities. So there are 4 different chronotypes that I know of, and I'm pretty sure that that's it. It's the lion, the lion is the person who really likes to wake up, or not even likes to, but naturally is better at waking up early and going to bed a little bit earlier. The bear, and these are just ways to classify the chronotypes, kind of funny, but the bear is someone who kind of falls right in the middle, right? Doesn't wake up too early, too late, and kind of goes to bed normal times. The wolf is somebody who is a night owl, right? Somebody who wakes up really late. If you get them up before 9 o'clock, they're just pissed, and they're just totally, all hours of the night. That's when they really thrive. And then there's the dolphin, which I'm not too sure offhand, but it's all like, it's kind of like different. It changes and is weird. So ultimately, just take a look at the first 3, and you want to figure out what you are. When is it that you feel I don't want to say great, because most people are still, when you first wake up, no matter how much sleep you've had, you're a little like, a little foggy and a little bit of groggy, if you will. But when is it that you find yourself, if your schedule allows, or if it has allowed in the past, maybe you've had a week off or something from your day job, and you've been able to find those times where your body just naturally wakes up, your body just naturally gets tired. You find, oh, this is when I can really do my optimal work. The reason I'm asking you to think about that is because that's your first question that you have to answer, whether or not you should join the 5 a.m. club. And in my opinion, the 5 a.m. club is really only for the lions, for the people who are naturally somebody who is the morning person, right? Hello, sunshine. It's like, if you're not that, you can wake yourself up a little bit earlier. I mean, for me, my body naturally wakes me up around, probably, if I didn't have anything to do, probably around like 8:30, if I really wanted to sleep that late. Ultimately, my body thrives on 9 hours of sleep. I'll probably never have that again in my life, but I've learned that through the last year or 2. I don't know what time it is, what year it is, but my body operates really great. I mean, perfectly when I have 9 hours of sleep, and ultimately I wake up probably around like 8:30 or something like that. For me, my morning routine starts at 6:30 now, and it's an hour. And could I wake up, I mean, probably a half an hour earlier and still feel pretty good? Maybe, but right now I'm getting 7.5 hours of sleep. So if I go to bed at 11, wake up at 6:30, that's 7.5. And something in the 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss, there's a chapter regarding sleep and sleep cycles, and ultimately he discusses the process of the 1.5 hour, I think, REM cycle from the top of my head. And if you can wake yourself up on or just around about that 1.5 hour mark, and in succession, then you'll feel a lot better because you'll be transitioning from one cycle to the other versus if you wake up right in the middle of one. So for instance, hour and a half, 3 hours, 4.5, 6 hours, 7.5. That's kind of where I look at optimal. So in my mind, I don't want to wake up any earlier in the middle of a REM cycle or sleep cycle because I'm going to feel worse. And yeah, maybe I can get a little bit more done, but that's what ritual design is for. I can do whatever else I wanted to say. If I wanted to spend a half an hour working on the business, I could fit that in another routine, maybe my after work routine, maybe my PM routine. I digress. So the first question of whether or not you should join the 5 a.m. club is to figure out what your chronotype is. And if I can find it, I'll leave a link in the description of a great book that is, I forget the author and I even forget the book title, that is all about chronotypes, but we will definitely do that in another episode. The second question that you have to kind of ponder is whether or not you want to. Like I said, I'm a huge proponent of a morning routine, but that doesn't mean that you have to wake up at 5 a.m. I'm going to leave a link in this video here. You can click out to watch the episode I did with actually a friend of mine, Dennis Buchanan, and we talked about his experience with the 5 a.m. club, and he was all about it. He heard about it, he tried it, he loved it, boom, right? And I'm curious to follow up with him and see if he's still implementing it a year later because, again, there's a lot that has to be involved. You have to continue filling that morning routine with things that you love to do and that you can't wait to wake up and work on or do. You have to have all the other pieces in place. You have to have your chronotype aligned. You have to be a lion. And you have to have the rest of your day prepared for you to wake up that early. Meaning, if you are somebody who has a schedule that, has you working or has you doing things later at night, it's going to be really hard to then keep that and then sacrifice sleep. The second you start sacrificing sleep, everything else starts to crumble. No matter how long you can hold out for, eventually things are going to crumble. Whether it's your health, whether it's your mental clarity, whatever it may be, sleep is the most important thing. So that's why I keep coming back to, obviously designing your day, whether or not you not like I said, want to, but can. So that transitions me right to the third point here and saying that if you're going to join the 5 a.m. club, you have to figure out that your day allows it, right? You have to make sure that you are getting to bed early enough. And it may be a big habit change, right? It may be a big shift, whether or not you have a PM routine installed. And if you do, then you can just back that up and that'll help you at least get to bed earlier. But if you don't, it's going to be hard because your favorite show is on at 11 o'clock at night, or you usually, play Call of Duty or whatever, right? So that is the third point, designing your day that you have to make sure that you allow for the success of the 5 a.m. club. Another point I'm going to make here, and I think this is probably the most important thing. While the second question revolves around what are you going to do, right? And having sure, do you want to do it? Meaning, what are you going to put inside of this morning routine? What are the things that you are going to be working on or doing? The last point I think I'm going to make today about this is, why are you doing it? The sexiness of high performance morning routine, rise and grind, entrepreneurial, work to your eyes bleed type of thing. Yeah, I admit it. It's kind of sexy. I get it. I totally understand it. But please do not push yourself to do something just because you see a picture on Instagram with a lion and saying rise and grind it, and makes you feel bad about yourself if you don't. Because for me, what I feel great about is the fact that I've had not only a morning routine, but a whole ritual design in place for my life for going on almost a decade now with no real huge gaps. That's sexy. That's sexy success, if you will, right? I mean, I'm so happy about that, but I'm not waking up super, super early, but I'm designing my day. I'm creating a perfect day that I get to try my best to execute. And I'm able to fit in all of the things that I need to do. My meditation, my working on my goal, my dreams, obviously. I mean, working, spending time with my family, being mentally present for them, which is even more important. All of these things that go into what people try to cram inside the morning, right? And I think the last thing that I want to talk about with this, and like I said, some of the pros and cons here, is that if you implement a morning routine, you're going to be sold by these gurus saying that in a way your life is going to transform. Everything is going to be so much better. And to an extent, I agree. You're going to be able to work on, and the only reason it's going to get better is because you're going to put in the reps. You're going to lift the weights, figuratively speaking, and you're going to put in the reps on your life. You're going to spend time doing that, career change you needed. You're going to spend time working out and getting in shape. You're going to spend time becoming happier and clearer, and and you're going to spend time building that business, whatever it may be. It's not because you've woken up early. It has nothing to do with that. It's that you're putting in the reps. I think it's really important that you understand that it's not just because you woke up early. Again, you got to watch out for the gurus telling you that this is going to change your life. Because let me ask you this, and this is where I'm kind of, where again, another reason why ritual design was born is because I would have a great morning routine. It would be unbelievable. I'd feel so good. And then 8:30 rolled around and I have to get in my car to drive to a crap job that I thought was going to be good. And then, 3 days in, I realized that, oh my gosh, I'm stuck. What did I do? Oh, I left teaching for this terrible job, and how am I going to make this career change? I'm terrified, which I had a panic attack at the point, which is another whole story. I was in a position where I had a boss who was, literally verbally abusive, which is a whole interesting story. Scary dude. I'd go home, I'd be exhausted. I'd have, just problems in my business that I've been trying to build. This is not Upgrade, but and that morning routine felt great while it lasted, but it didn't fix all my other problems that I've had in my life. And no amount of routines will, but it will be the reps that you do. And that's why another proponent, why I'm so such an advocate of ritual design, is because it's designed to open up or interrupt, your inflection points throughout major parts of your day. When you when you go from your home to your work, or where you start your job, right? Getting into that mindset. And then when you close down the laptop for the day or leave from the office and come home, right? And then when you go to bed, those are all big inflection points where you can not only avoid some problems, but you can insert some really, really great routines where that will enable you to work on and to build a life that you love. So, a lot of talking here today. And I think, in my mind, it's really important that you do some of the things that we spoke about. So for the 5 a.m. club, whether or not you want to do it, you got to figure out what chronotype you are and if it's going to work for your body. You got to figure out what you're going to do in the routine, what you're actually going to put inside of it. Number 3, you have to make sure that you're not doing it just because some guru told you to do it. That is a long-winded line of questioning for you today that I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some ideas from it. I hope you decided whether or not you're going to do that. And I'm really looking forward to starting 2022 with you guys. I have some really, really great things in mind for the show. I have some different ideas for guests coming on, and I'm really, really excited. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining today here on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. Please, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing. I'd love it. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and of course, if you're listening to this, leave a review. That would be so helpful. That would really help other people find the podcast as well. So once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.